What even is a real man? Like, to me, a real man is a man that is real. I am a man, I am real, I do exist. So that makes me a real man. Hi guys, what's up? My name is David and welcome back to my channel. So, I have been getting a lot of interaction recently. Yay. We recently reached 500 subscribers, which I know is not a lot, but to me, 500 people being interested in what I have to say is pretty decent. So, thank you for sticking around. And by the way, if you're watching this video and you're not subscribed and you like this video, then, you know, consider subscribing. So, as I've said in a previous video, more interaction and more visibility always gets me more hate comments because I am a transgender person who also identifies as a pagan. Yay! But I only get these comments online. I don't really have people in my actual real day-to-day life that say stuff like this, so I don't really care that much. But I know that there is a lot of people who can have serious mental health problems from getting comments like this. So I want to make a series of videos kind of like deconstructing some of these comments that I and many other trans people get, and show you guys how you can reframe them into not being as hurtful as they might seem to. So, I made an entire video about whether being trans is natural or not, from comments saying that what I'm doing is unnatural. And today I want to focus on a comment that is very, very, very common, and it's that you'll never be a real insert gender. So I am a trans man for context, but I realize that I have long hair, and sometimes when people hear trans and see me, they think I'm a trans woman. So I have gotten comments telling me that I will never be a real woman, which is honestly so funny because, like, yeah, I know. But I will mostly be talking about the comment, you'll never be a real man, because that's what trans men get. And of course, any trans women watching this, the same works the other way around. Just replace masculinity with femininity, and you know, our experiences are pretty similar, although there's on opposite ends. So when you get a comment like this, you'll never be a real man, you really have to ask yourself two questions. The first one being, what does this person mean by a real man? And the follow up question, do I want to be their definition of a real man? So when people say this, real man, they generally tend to mean a cisgender man. So a man that has been born male, assigned male at birth. And I don't know why people think this, but trans people are not trying to be cis. I am not trying to be a biological man. I am aware that I have not been born male and I will never suddenly be born male. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do. I will always be a trans man. And there's nothing wrong with that. It does not make me a not real man. It just does not make me a cis man. And that's fine. Then, of course, it is highly problematic to say real man equals cis man, because what even is a real man? Like, to me, a real man is a man that is real. I am a man, I am real, I do exist, so that makes me a real man. And if that does not correspond to your definition of a real man, then okay, go cry about it. Another thing is that when people say real man, they have certain ideas about masculinity that they think men should fulfill. And although there are many trans men who really do want to be what is seen as stereotypically male, like being a father figure, for example, or I don't know, stuff like that, and that is absolutely fine. But just like in cis man, there's not one way to be a trans man, and some trans men are more masculine, some trans men are less masculine. And that's all fine because gender expression and gender identity are two different things, but transphobes can seem to keep them apart. So let me demonstrate. I have long hair, right? That is typically seen as something feminine. Although personally, I don't have long hair to be feminine. I have long hair because I listen to metal music and dress up as a Viking in my free time. So I think that is very masculine when it comes to stereotypes about femininity slash masculinity. But me having long hair does not make me less of a man because my gender is not stored in my hair. So just as a cisgender man can have long hair and still be a man, I can have long hair and still be a man. And once again, this thing about real or not real, like it's just weird. Like every single person who exists is real. It's so funny that these same people who tell trans people that they're not a real man or woman also keep telling them about their god, which is, surprise, surprise, not real. And if you were to entertain the thought, also not a man, because God is beyond gender. But I will not go on a religious tangent on here because I want to make an entire video about my problems with Christianity. So keep an eye open for that. But continuing this rant, I personally am someone who does not care a lot about conforming into like gender binary and ideas of what is considered masculine, what's considered feminine. So to me, comments like this, like I don't care. Like if I'm not your definition of a real man, that like okay, and but I know that there is people who do care more than I do, and to them I say just keep in mind that if you consider yourself a man and what you are doing is masculine to you because you as a man are doing it, then you are a real man. You don't have to be a real man according to these people leaving these comments. You have to be a real man according to yourself. So you have to be real with yourself. Another thing that I need to say when it comes to comments like this is when you get them, I mean, of course, the best way is to just not interact, but I am very guilty of this. I don't want these people to win. So I do like to respond. And sometimes when it's just these very simple comments, the thing you can do is ask, what do you mean by that? Because generally people like to say very hateful things without wanting to explain themselves. But when they say you're not a real man and you ask, what do you mean by that? They would have to evaluate what exactly they do mean as a real man and, you know, maybe change their opinions. I mean, of course, most of these people who comment stuff like that do not want their opinions to be changed. So, like, that is the whole problem, I guess. Like, they're just watching content that they're against, which thank you for the views and comments, I guess. But yeah, they don't want their opinions to be changed. They have this certain opinion that they don't want to have challenged. They don't want to look at the actual facts. They just want to look at their, well, what they believe are facts, basically. And yeah, it's just kind of weird to tell someone who is legally recognized as a man and is a real person that they are not a real man. Like, what do you want to achieve with this? Honestly, that is my biggest question when it comes to comments like this. Like, why bother? Why do you care? What have trans people ever done to you for you to care so much about their existence, either online or in real life? Like, and even if I am not a real man according to your standards, like, okay, like I know you've probably seen me be very confused at these people throughout this entire video, but I'm just like okay, I don't conform to your standards of being a real man. Like, okay, congratulations, what do you want, a sticker? So yeah, if you are a trans person who gets these comments, just try to reframe them in a somewhat less negative way than they're intended to be. Like, if your life purpose is not to be what these people consider to be a real man or a real woman, then don't be, and keep going with your life as it was. And I don't think there's anything wrong to want to conform to these standard rules of masculinity and femininity, especially just after you've come out as a trans person. It's easy to have some guidelines to know what you're doing, especially if you are a straight trans man, for example. Then maybe you do want to be a man that will have a wife and kids in the future or something like that. And by that, you kind of do conform to standards of masculinity. But I, as a queer person, I don't really, that's not what I'm going for. So I don't need to conform to all that. But there's nothing wrong with it. What's wrong is people trying to force you to conform to certain standards. They're just guidelines. You don't have to be a certain way, and there is not even one way to be a man or to be masculine. There's so many things that make up your identity as a man, as a woman, as a trans person, as a cis person, as a straight person, as a queer person, anything. Like there's not one way to fit into a specific label, and these labels are also just there to kind of give you a guideline and not to force you into being one way. These transphobes who leave these comments say that trans people or queer people are trying to force others to be that. Like, no, you guys are the only ones that are forcing people to do something. I have never in my life been told to be trans, or to be gay, or to be queer. I have, however, been told to be cis, to be straight, to be Christian. So who's the one forcing things on people? Anyways, I think that is enough. I hope I've been clear on my thoughts on comments like, "You'll never be a real man." And I hope this video helps you to deal with comments like this. And if there are any specific comments that you have gotten or have seen other people get and you'd like me to talk through them, deconstruct them and stuff, let me know down below in the comments. Yeah, I will probably make more videos in this series. Like I said, I've already made one before about being trans being not natural, so you can go watch that if you want to. And yeah, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you next time. But before I end, once again, my social experiment, it has worked for the last video, so thank you for the people who left a green heart. Now, if you've watched this video until the end, leave a... I'm just gonna go with the heart emojis again. Leave a blue heart emoji this time, so that I will know that you've watched this video until the end. Okay, thank you, bye bye.